Hello, friends. Welcome to Snap Take. It's November and we got new cards. This is one of the best seasons in quite a while. Look, last season I thought was actually going to be kind of a dumpster fire and they buffed it into being a really, really strong season. I think this season is just going to be really good without too much extra trouble, without too much extra doing. And a lot of the best cards is in Series 4, are in Series 4. The best cards are in Series 4. I'm an English teacher, friends. The best cards are in Series 4, so we have a really great opportunity of getting most of the best cards this season. We're going to review it, we're going to give away free season passes, and so very much more. Let's kick it off with the season pass card, who is Spider-Punk. Spider-Punk is an incredibly cool card, now a 3-3. Datamind is a 2-2, they buffed him, and I think they're going to regret that. You can move this once. When this moves to location, steal 2 power from the highest power enemy card here. So it's going to immediately get a buff upon moving. So it's a 3-3 that becomes a 3-7 with one move. That's awesome. We're perfectly happy to play a 3-7, but there's so very much more we can do if we can get an extra move. Let's say we drop this on a Zorn. Let's say we drop this on a Madam Web, or we use a Ghost Spider, or not, you know all the move cards. Now all of a sudden this is a 3-11. If we can get a second move out of it, we've got a 3-15. We've just been doing an awful lot of work to get Werewolf to play for 3-15, get Werewolf to play for 3-17. Well, we now have another card that can do a similar thing that takes a different package, and that package overall has more power. So taking 2 power off the most powerful enemy card there is usually pretty good, right? We're pretty happy to take 2 off the highest, but early on, if we can force this move, there's cards like Captain Carter where this is just going to sort of ruin them. There's cards like Deadpool, a Deadpool that's sitting on the board, taking that negative too early, unless it got agonied. Now that's really, really, really hurting. It's great that this says specifically highest power, not highest cost, highest power enemy card here. So it can really negatively affect scalers. Want to stop a Human Torch? This isn't going to do an amazing job, but slowing it down by a turn means that unless they go off, you should have a really powerful way to do it. All right. In addition to this being very good with Zorn, I think Red Wing decks are going to be back in a very, very powerful way. I love Red Wing. I'm so excited to play this with Red Wing. I wanted an extra 3-drop, and now I have 3 3-drops that I want to play with Zorn. So I can play Red Wing, I can play this card, Spider Punk, and I can play Human Torch. And then if I play just simple stuff like Madam Web or Ghost Spider or whatever, I have an extra power package in my Red Wing decks. I'm hyped for that. Um, However, it's worth remembering that if you're not going to play this in move decks, if you want to play this as a standalone card, it is probably a worse Rocket and Groot. Rocket and Groot triggers 4 times almost every game that you play, assuming that you're not extremely unlucky. And Rocket and Groot triggering 4 times is this with one move. So and Rocket and Groot has the extra power of like forcing your opponent's play. Still, Still, you haven't seen Rocket Root in a long time. Still, I think that this is good enough in move decks to really be worth it. I assume this is a powerhouse. This is sort of our replacement Vulture. Vulture, it turns out, as a 1-2, has not been very good. Just hasn't been a super impressive card. Well, with Vulture can just be cut now, and we can run Spider Punk. All right, so you should always buy the season pass. You can follow Lauren Whatevs, who does all the best math in Marvel Snap, tells us about how much things are worth, how much things cost, so on and so forth, on Twitter at twitter.com/Lauren Whatevs. She's also on the Snap on This podcast, Snap on This pod on YouTube, and she's running Snap Decks over on Twitter right now. So if you want to check her out, please do. So here's the basic math. A Series 5 card is worth 6,000 tokens, and eventually, assuming you want to get most cards, you save those 6,000 tokens. On top of that, you're also going to get an extra 300 credits, and the big thing is 1,550 gold, assuming we're counting weekend missions. If you care at all about cosmetics, you get 5,800 gold worth of cosmetics, which is 3 variants that are exclusive. They don't come back. 1 premium mystery, 2 regular mystery variants, 3 avatars, 2 titles, so on and so forth. So you can take a chunk off for anything you don't care about. But even just those 3 exclusive variants, if you want to count them as 1,200, is more than enough here. With cosmetics, the season pass value, if you were trying to buy it using regular means, would be $294. Without that, if you're just looking at progression value, it's $122 worth of progression value, and it costs $9.99. It is either 19.5 or 12.24 times value, what you would get for spending your money other ways in Marvel Snap. There's no other value in the game that even approaches just buying the season pass every month. I've been saying this. I know a lot of people listen, some still don't, but a lot of people listen. I consider Marvel Snap a subscription model game. I think if you just buy the season pass and spend your resources wisely and complete all your missions, you should be able to basically not get every card, but you should be able to keep up with the beta and always have what the right and best decks are. So I think that this is unbelievable value, and I urge you to buy the season pass, even though I think this kind of deck is just too much fun to skip. We've got Spider Punk, we got Human Torch, we got Red Wing, we got Madam Web, Zoran, Ghost Spider, Aranya. Maybe we throw an Iron Fist in, maybe not. We also have Hellion, could also be a cloak, pending our cost curve concerns. We've got all these things to do to create huge bodies, and then we can just drop huge bodies for free with Red Wing. We can discard them with Dracula. I think this is going to be straight up a meta deck. I play Zorn, I drop Spider Punk, assuming I hit something that is now a 3/7. I now still have the move. I just played a 3/11 on top of everything else this deck does. I'm all about this life. Yes, it goes in the classic move deck, but we covered the classic move deck 2 days ago. Yes, it goes in move down bounce, but we also covered that 2 days ago. This is just going to be a staple move card, in my opinion. I think this is just great stats. Like a 3/7, 3/11, 3/15, 3/19. Yeah, I'm in. I'm in for that type of stats. I have to do a lot of work for Dagger. This is in many ways similar to Dagger, where it's 4 each move. Dagger late game is getting 6 to 8 each move, right? But you have to play Dagger later for that to happen. You can play Spider Punk sooner. It's very similar to Dagger, except it works with Zorn and it can ruin your opponent's game plans. So again, about this card. I think this is going to be great. A must buy season pass card, which makes 2 in a row, I believe, of must buy season pass cards because I think Zombie Scarlet Witch ended up being a must buy. If you'd like to win this card for free, we're giving away 5 at the end of the week. I aim to give them away either Friday or Saturday morning, so you should still have time to do weekend missions. We are giving away 5 copies of Spider-Punk. All you have to do is sub, like, and comment, and you will get a season pass from me. I will announce winners later this week. Your comments on any video this week are your chance to win Spider-Punk. And also, like, that Spider-Punk variant that's coming in the pass is unbelievably good, and I cannot wait to run it. It might just become, like, my main card back. It's so freaking cool looking. All right. Man Spider is our season pass premium. You can just get this from Snap Packs. You can just get this for tokens, or you can spend the extra $9.99 when you buy the season pass and get Man Spider. You'll have to spend the extra money on top of it if you win the season pass. Sorry, they don't. I'm not giving away premiums, just regular season passes. But this is on reveal merge last card you played here. When this merges, double its power. So you play it wherever it grabs the last card you played, whatever that may be, and merges it. And then it's going to move to wherever you played Man Spider, so that's pretty freaking good. It also gives the +1 before the double, which is nice, which is +2. An extra +2 is pretty solid. This is almost certainly Taskmaster's best friend. You play this, then you drop Taskmaster to copy this, and you're just good to go. It's also going to be a great way to move the cards to avoid Shadow King Shang-Chi type shenanigans. It's made cheaper by Ravona. I think I found a decent Ravona deck for it. I'm not 1,000% about that. I think that this is going to be the home of a lot of experimentation. I think this card is fairly likely to break things. Doubling is the strongest thing you can do in Marvel Snap because doubling and then doubling again is just completely insane. And there's going to be a way to do that with this card that's going to be completely stupid. We will have to wait to see what it is. But the place I want to start is this Galactus Destroyer deck. So what I want to do here is I can go, I'm using Ravona Electro Wave, right? Um, actually, I don't think I need Ravona. Whatever. I like Ravona for the goblins, and then I was like, well, Man Spider can and Taskmaster, so Man Spider can fit here too. So Electro, by the way, is a 3/5 right now. So let's say I go Shuri into I go Electro into Shuri into Nimrod. Sure, great. Or Electro into Shuri into Nimrod's a nice simple thing to do. And then I just play Destroyer and I'm good to go. Or I play Galactus and I'm good to go. The opponent doesn't know what I'm doing, especially if I got a couple goblins out. Now I should be way ahead. I could also, because I have Electro or Wave, play Nimrod on turn 4, Man Spider for a 14 power Nimrod, and still Destroyer. It's possible I want to just do some more Destroy stuff with that, but hey, either which way works totally fine. Destroyer, Nimrod on turn 4 without a good thing to do with it has long been a problem with that card. Well, Man Spider should take care of that problem. What else can we do with Man Spider? Well, we've got Wave. We can Wave into Destroyer, and then we can drop Man Spider on Destroyer, and then we can Taskmaster. We can also Wave into Galactus and do the same basic thing, right? We can Wave into Galactus, and then we can either play Destroyer or play if we lose that Galactus, the opponent tends to avoid that lane, and now we can just drop a Man Spider on it for 14 power Galactus. That seems really good. That can be followed by Destroyer, Taskmaster, so on and so forth. They can be Goblins in that lane, Goliath, so on. I can wave into Galactus, Man Spider, and even if that doesn't work, that's still 14 power. I can Taskmaster. There's like a million tiny, tiny little interactions and plays. Again, I'm not 1,000% sold on Ravona and the Goblins. Maybe Ravona and the Goblins want to be some extra destroy stuff, so I can go even more all in on Nimrod. But either which way, I think this deck's like fairly likely, like very likely to be just very, very strong and really hard to beat. I mean, I can play Electro, go Shuri, Destroyer, Taskmaster, and just be fine. 36 power and 2 lanes is going to win most games of Snap. I've got a lot of ways to do it. And that Man Spider says I don't have to worry about the Shuri location problems, means that it's going to be really strong. I'm excited for this list. I'm also a little scared of this list. I think that there's probably a better Galactus list out there. I think this is a really, really strong base and starting point. I'm the more I think about Man Spider, the more I think someone like Splat or Brady or I don't know, you get the idea. Someone who likes jank is going to figure out what stupid, completely broken thing to do with this card, and we're going to have a problem. But for the time being, this is a card worth experimenting with. I think it's a card worth owning because we're going to come up with some weird, crazy stuff here. Stay tuned here if you want decks every day about new cards. All right, Web Sling is our Series 4 card. Seemingly only one Series 4 card, though we have one card at the end that we stuck at the end because we're not sure if it's coming out at the start. But Web Sling is a 1-cost skill. It is on reveal. Your next turn, you can move one of your cards away from here. And holy crap, I love this. I think this is an absolutely, absolutely incredible card. Basically, any turn but turn 6. And even on turn 6, it's got some extra, like, move a werewolf synergy. Move is always like struggling for space. Move often clogs itself. Having the ability to say, hey, I don't have to worry about that is utterly amazing. Werewolf by Night and Merlin absolutely love this. Merlin Werewolf by Night is like a snap condition in many games. It's in many of the best decks right now. We now have extra 1-cost skills. This being able to say, okay, Werewolf to Merlin, and then I can move another card, and then Werewolf again, just wildly strong. This card's obviously also really great with the Season Pass card because it'll allow you to move it without using up its move. This is a huge tool for Zombie Scarlet Witch. Zombie Scarlet Witch absolutely loves this. Zombie Scarlet Witch to say not only can I get an extra buff on my thingy-majig, on my zombie guy, on my horde, that's what it's called, on my horde, I can then move another card out of here to make my horde even bigger, is just ridiculous. Move and move bounce are going to absolutely love this. They want cheap 1-drops that can move cards. This is like to me better Iron Fist for most of these decks. Move Bounce might still want Iron Fist, but for most decks this is better Iron Fist. If we're going to do some crazy stuff, I want to try it in this deck. This is the Derek version of the Werewolf by Night list, the Werewolf by Night Zombie Scarlet Witch list. Basically, if I can go Joaquin Torres into Web Sling, um, sorry, I can play like I don't care. Hood and Hunger there, right? And then I can move that Hood off the Joaquin Torres in order to do other things. I can throw it into a lane that I'm automatically winning or a throw lane, and the opponent has to deal with that. But it can also just move the Joaquin Torres and another card. It gives me so much variety. Obviously, also good with Zombie Scarlet Witch. So good with so freaking many cards. I think, oh, is this the Husky version? This might be the Husky version. It's one of those two's versions, Derek or Husky. Either way, I'm really, really, really excited about this version of this list. I think that this is going to be a must-buy Series 4 card. I like that they're releasing really, really powerful Series 4 cards, and I think Websling is one of them in like exactly this type of shell. Before we go forward, if you haven't subbed, liked, and commented yet, why not? Let me know in the comments. Superior Spider-Man seems like the best ramp card of Marvel Snap. He is a 3/4 at the start of each turn. You get +1 energy if you have any cards with increased power in play. So first of all, there's just like 15 locations that this says immediately you just get free ramp. That's pretty good, especially from a 3/4. This should probably be a 3/3, but whatever, not my call. This is like a better Electro, but it might not go in the same type of decks that Electro goes in. So I want a bunch of 1s and 2s that gain power here, right? Stuff like Forge. It doesn't say other, right? You get if you have any card. So if you increase this play, right? So you could play Forge into this, and then you're good to go. So I think you're going to probably run less ramp, more like a 1s and 5s decks. You still want to ramp into 5s and skip 4, but you no longer are so you no longer can go like in on 6s because you need early plays to make sure that this does something. So this seems to me like at least as good as Luna, and Luna is one of the better cards in the game. This feels like it goes in decks that are similar to Pixie, where you run a lot of cheap stuff and a lot of expensive stuff. Although, again, we're powering up 5s, and I think 5s are a decent place to put some power right now. Nico, Sable, Hunger, or Zombie Fantastic, and simple ongoing stuffs all work here. I think this is very, very likely to find a bunch of great homes. The first of which is going to be the Pixie Chef deck for me. The Pixie Chef deck was running like Hope Summer shenanigans. I see very little reason not to run Superior Spider-Man because Sunspot and Silver Sable and Nico and Surge can all power this card up. I get that 3/4 that gives me a ramp, and I already have Taskmaster here, so why not run Man Spider? We can do things pass into Superior Spider-Man into pass with 5 energy into like She-Hulk. We're still gonna have 6 energy next turn into She-Hulk Man Spider into Taskmaster, which seems insane. Shuri She-Hulk into Taskmaster, which seems insane. All these things are just wildly strong. We can still do the pass and trigger Warlock shenanigans. There's a lot less Mobius right now. I think this deck is going to be gross. I don't know how else to put it. I think this deck is going to be gross, and we're going to be able to put up multiple 30 to 40 power lanes that are going to make it extraordinarily difficult to beat this list. I'm a little worried here, but I'm also fairly excited. I think this is again an absolute beast must play deck. I sent this to Pixie Chef and he was like, "Hey, I think we still may want Infinite." And I was like, "We may, but then I think we have to cut Man Spider. If we want to do that, we have to cut Man Spider and include War Machine, and I didn't really want to include War Machine. I also never liked Ebony Maw on the list because that meant I had to play War Machine, and I never wanted to have to play War Machine. War Machine was a card I'd prefer to skip and just do other powerful things. So I'm going to try Giganto here, and we'll see. It's also possible I start Destroyer here, but Destroyer could mess up my Giganto. Sorry, my Superior Spider-Man power in ways I don't really my Superior Spider-Man energy in ways I don't want. I don't know. I have a lot of optionality and a lot of power in this deck, and this will be one of the first things I try with both Man Spider and Superior Spider-Man. Next up, we have Ezekiel Sims. One of the cards I'm less excited for coming this season comes out 11/11, Make a Wish. This is a 2/2. After you play a card with higher power here, give this +2 power, move it to another location. So it's fairly Silk like, except Silk's real power is that it moves multiple times a turn. It's going to be very, very hard to move this multiple times a turn because you have to play something in its lane with more power, and you don't know where it's going to land, so that makes it extra hard, even if you do have the things that have more power. This has the same synergies as Silk, though. Sam, Craven, Batrock, Hydra Stomper. We do all the stuff with this deck. We know what this goes with. It's hard to move this more than once a turn. However, Scream decks very, very rarely play more than one card a turn. And if that's going to be the case, then this could be one of those cards, right? If you just play this with another two on turn 4, for example, you're going to get a move on turn 4, a move on turn 5, and a move on turn 6, which is a nice 2/8. Right, we're happy to play a 2/8. I'm not sold. I'm not sold Scream decks are good enough right now, but this is where I would start this deck, a sort of lower to the ground Scream deck where I'm aiming to play it on turn 4. If I play it on turn 3, I hope I've moved something else or something else has happened, but then I can follow a Polaris or Silk in order to get that extra move, and now we're off to the races. Symbiote Spider-Man Stegron. We should be just ahead of the curve of Ezekiel Sims as far as getting that extra power goes. So fine. The real problem here is Cannonball's no longer an 8 power card, so I might get stuck where it is at the end of the game, meaning it's likely to be a 2/6 if I play it at a 2/6 if I play it at the end of the game, and I don't know if this is worth the effort for a 2/6, and I think that's the real problem here. Next up, Spider-Man Noir, which is one of the weirdest cards they've ever released. On reveal, if your other cards in play cost exactly 8 total, add the top card of your deck here. Set its power to 8. So if you play a 1 drop, that's 1. If you play a 2 drop, that's 3. If you play a 3 drop, that's 6. You might notice that 6 is not 8. So we need some extra shenanigans in order to get this going. This is an extremely cool character. I think Spider-Man Noir is a very, very, very cool character. Noir is awesome. But you really need to build for this, and I'm not sure it's worth building for. Its homes are Zoo because of Shauna. Shauna says immediate 6. So if you play 2 Shauna, you should be good to go. Assuming you didn't get a Kitty Pride, which could ruin things, but whatever. You could get a decent Patriot deck because those run Mr. Sinister, decent buff deck because it runs Mr. Sinister. You can play Brood with this, but you cannot play Brood before this because Brood is immediately 9. 9 is more than 8, hence the problem. 1 plus Sinister is 5, which means if we go 1 Sinister 3 drop, we're there. Mysterio is immediately 6, so if we go Mysterio and 2 drop or 2 ones, we're immediately there. So there are options here. This is an old Yo Woody MJ. Props to Woody wherever the hell he may be. We loved Woody. He was a great guy. He stopped playing Snap a while ago. A top 10 player very often when he did. He created this list that ran not Spider-Man Noir, right? It was basically the same list with something else in Noir and something else in Viv Vision Spot. I feel like if we can go, we have a chance to go forge into Sinister, right? 1 drop forge Sinister 1 drop or Sinister into Viv or Patriot, and we should be good to go if we can do that. And that's basically what this list is trying to do. That point we can play Spider-Man Noir. We're running Howard the Duck because we're running Noir and Iron Lad. Who knows it's even worth playing either of those cards, right? I generally speaking, rather play Lad than Noir. Um, like Lad for an Iron Man means I can still play Iron Man. Dwarf for an Iron Man means I win that lane super hard, but I still need to play. Although if I'm missing a bunch of key cards in my hand, maybe I want to play Noir to thin my deck a little bit. I don't know. This is the best I can come up with. If anyone has anything better, I'd love to see it. This is like the skippiest of skip cards, but I think it's easily the like only one of those this season. Hey, I know Raid Shadow Legends is a meme to many of you, but I've been playing it a lot and having like literally a blast. It is the most like laid back fun game I've had in a long time. If you're willing to check it out, please do check out some of my content for it. I got Ninja Turtles. That's how they got me. There's Ninja Turtles in it, so I'm an official creator now, right? And I love me some Ninja Turtles, so now I'm playing a bunch of Ninja Turtles all the time and having a blast. If you're willing to check it out, please do check out our raid content. If you decide to download the game using our link, you can get over $200 of free stuff. But even if you decide not to, I think you'll really enjoy the content. A lot of people that have been watching, I keep getting messages from people who like aren't really raid fans or are like casual raid players, and they're just having a good time watching me play and figure things out. So hopefully you're willing to do so as well. All right, card of the season time. It's Deafening Chord. Deafening Chord is the one cost skill that comes out later this month. I said yes to my son eating a lollipop. On reveal, afflict an enemy character here that costs 3 or less with a -1 power and remove its text. Yes, I would take Red Guardian on a one cost skill. Thank you. Why do you ask? Red Guardian obviously has the ability to hit things like Iron Man, right? Well, this does not. But things like Victoria Hand, things like Zombie Scarlet Witch, things like Invisible Woman First Steps all die horribly to this. This card is going to be freaking incredible. I'm going to need a reason not to run a one that ruins my opponent's life. Because I think I want to run this in most decks. Even if it doesn't have a great target, I'm perfectly fine to just be like, all right, I'll just take my 1/1, right? Because it plays as a 1/1, it gives -1 power. So this also doesn't take a board slot. Board slots are at a premium in Marvel Snap. You often need that extra space. This obviously, I'm not going to keep going over this, but Werewolf Merlin stuff really loves this. All the usual stuff that does that. We might be approaching, and I think by next season we're there for Nicholas Scratch. Where just like if we play Nicholas Scratch early, he's going to be like a 1/6, 1/7, 1/8, which means it's worth running. Just get this card, play this card. This is a limited time game mode, so we should be able to get it for free or on the cheap with the gold pass. Do it, get it, live it, love it, etc. The place I wanted to throw this was this Spell Agamotto deck that we got from who did we get this from? I'm gonna say Husky. One of Husky's um community members made it, and Husky changed a few cards, and now we changed a couple more cards. So this is that deck. Thank you to that community member. I'm so sorry I don't have your name off the top of my head, but thank you very, very much for this really, really cool deck. I love Agamotto. A lot of people just got Agamotto. So we just say Deafening Chord is a one cost skill and belongs in this list. I don't know. Do we need Kate Bishop? How long do we need Kate Bishop? Can we run the web sling and just change our packages up here? Can we run web sling and zombies instead of like Cosmic Ghost Rider and Kahori and go to town? Exactly what point do we have where we can just sort of do whatever we want? Do we want Luna here? Does Sam Wilson um, and like if we change an extra card, we run a Nicholas Scratch and Sam Wilson. Do we have enough for the spider and not have to worry about giving opponents energy? Because giving opponents energy is why I'm running the Cosmic Ghost Rider, at least partially. Also for the Iron Man type shenanigans. I don't know. I think that this is almost certainly a meta deck. We're like an inch away from the skills deck because this is so good. It was running Red Guardian. I see no reason to run 3 cost Red Guardian when I can run 1 cost Red Guardian, but feel free to mix and match your heart's content. Card of the season, calling it now. Hydro-Man is a 5/8. On reveal, set the cost of each deck's top card to 1. So it's a 5/8 that makes your top card 1. You can build for that, your opponent can't. So it's going to be great. People are going to say this is not that great. But first of all, with Mobius, you can keep your opponent's card at the same cost. However, Pixie decks already basically try to do this, and this is like a guaranteed good last hit for Pixie. So Pixie's pretty happy here. This can go in a Sandman deck where you either make their stuff more expensive or cheaper. Either way works great with Mobius. And Iron Lad and Duck are probably fine here, but like you don't really want them. I think where you do want them is the Dumaluma slash Mastar Puppet deck that we had forever. That was running Sandman for a while. That is running I don't know, it's running a lot of 5 drops. Basically, my logic here is if I play Hydro Man on 5, I get a 1 drop that I can play with Cosmic Ghost Rider. Almost every card in the deck is really, really good when played with Cosmic Ghost Rider on the last turn. Speed in particular is kind of great. I can also get a 1 cost Goliath or Galacta. Galactus for steps to play with Cosmic Ghost Rider. That also seems great. I can get a 1 cost Cosmic Ghost Rider, which I can't then play with Elias or Galacta unless I Wiccan, but so be it. Um, I don't know. I think this deck is super gross. I'm really excited for it. I want to play it a lot. I want to play. Ooh, I don't know what I just dropped. Whatever. I want to play it a lot. I think this is going to be really cool and really powerful. We'll see if the lack of tech makes the meta go over this. My guess is this is just frustrating enough to still be great. Our last card of the season is the coolest one. I don't think it's the best one, but it is the coolest one. It is Uncle Aaron. 3/4 is the Prowler. On reveal, add 2 Thieves' Schools to your hand. Set their cost to 0 if a card moved last turn, which seems incredible, which means I believe as long as you move a card at any point in the game, it's going to be 0 next turn. On reveal, afflict the 2 highest power cards here with -2 power. I'll take that. That is a 1 cost skill or a 0 cost skill that plays for 4. Gauntlets, 1 or 0. Again, give your highest power card here +2 power, and you get +1 energy next turn. Sure. And that's highest power. So you've got another 2 power +1 energy. Great. Absolutely great. We can use that immediately with Superior, not Scarlet, Superior Spider if we want to, although it's pretty good with Scarlet Spider too. Harness, unveil, give your highest power card here, +1 power, and move it to the right, which will make the second one cheap if I'm reading it right, but also it's just an extra move and +1 power, adding plus power to move cards. I don't know if you've met Human Torch, but it's pretty freaking insane. Cheap skills and move, who we know how that works. We know what types of deck that goes in. This is in all the usual spots. We've talked about all the decks this goes in. I don't know how we're going to fit or build that deck. We're going to figure out what the right cards are. But there's another deck. There was that high Evo Ajax deck forever. I think this card absolutely loves that deck, where we can go something like turn 5, Hazmat, skill, Werewolf a couple times, and then last turn we have Ajax, Abomination, and Miles on top of like all the other completely insane shenanigans that this deck does. I don't know if Rocket is better or worse here. I think Rocket might be worse here than Superior Spider-Man, but Rocket can hit multiple things, and multiple things is pretty good for Abomination and Ajax. So I think Rocket Group might still be here, but I think this list is probably disgusting. Um, Again, we'll see if Kate is right. Kate gives me an extra mover. That's why I like her, right? Prowler wants things to move, Miles wants things to move, and Werewolf is the only otherwise mover if I'm not running like. And Werewolf and Rocket means I have to get a mover on turn 3. Fine. I do want to get the Prowler things for free, especially because Werewolf is in the deck. Fine. So Kate Bishop gives me a chance at the Grapple Arrow, which is a 50% chance at an extra mover. It could easily be Jeff. I also wanted an on reveal, and something that gave me on reveals for Werewolf, so Kate ended up the right call. We'll see. It could easily be web sling, and like we could just run, instead of Wasp and Kate, we can run web sling and just and the cord, right? Just harmonious cord, whatever nonsense that's called. Yeah, this deck is back. Get ready. Start packing your loot cages. Start packing your Mobiuses. This deck is going to put up a ton of points on your face, and I don't think there's anything you can do with it. This is Prowler's secret amazing home. Come check out twitch.tv/PulseGlazer, where I should be streaming tonight. I've got a couple season passes of Scarlet Witch to give away before the season ends, so please stop by and get a free zombie Scarlet Witch. Finally, we have Chameleon, the last card, the one we don't have a release date for. My guess is it just comes out at the start of the season, but it could just be a random mid-season reveal. Chameleon is a 3/3 on reveal, copy the text of another card. Here, you revealed this turn. Largely has to be a turn 6 or 7 play. Since he costs 3, you probably want to play him with something that costs 3. Sage, Silver Surfer, that kind of card. Um, I think he's not going to be very good because of the word here. I think the word here makes him a far, far worse card than he would be otherwise. There's a possibility for Malekith, Invisible Woman First Step synergies. I'm not sure how this turn is going to work with them. If that works out, this is going to be better than it seems. This may be worth experimenting with, but for the time being, it's going to be my worst card of the season. I wanted to try it. Ooh, where's the deck? I didn't copy the deck in. I have a Surfer deck for it. When this comes out, I'll give you that Surfer deck. Basically, you play it last turn with Surfer and your stuff gets +4. That deck can run Wong and be fine. You don't have to. So the simple season pass question is, what card are you most excited for this season? Actually, I can show you that deck right now because I have it right here. Haha. That's the deck, by the way, that I thought for Chameleon. I can just go Gwenpool and start doing other shenanigans, right? Or I can spend my turn 4 going Wand, turn 5 going Sarah, and then I can play like Brood Chameleon Surfer. Brood Surfer Chameleon, you get the idea, right? I don't know. Seems fine. All right. Which card are you most excited for? Answer that question in order to win the season pass, and come check out the stream at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. Again, I've got some dinner plans. I'm going to chill with the homie Min and meet his family, and after that, I should be streaming for a bit because I need to. All right, so let's S tier every card this month. So our must-have cards. Sorry, let's tier every card this month and shout out to our old missing friend Docty, Octi, Dr. Octillery for a while, I believe. Docty is awesome. We miss Docty. Our must-have cards are Superior Spider-Man, Deafening Cord, and Web Sling. I think you really, really, really want all 3 of those. Prowler and Spider-Punk might end up in that spot, but they're at least solid buys. Hydraman and Man-Spider, I think, are for decks you like, although I can, again, easily see either of them climbing up. Kimberly and Ezekiel Sims are in C. I don't see them going up, and I think Spider-Man Noir needs some kind of buffs. I think he's probably bad. That's it for this video. Please check out our Patreon at patreon.com/snapjudgments if you're willing to throw some love and support to the channel. Certain support come with honor. Thanks. Thank you to Jonesy Snap22, the OG AG Abigail Gleason, Mandatory Burnout. Who's a burnout? You are. LAB, the always kind one. Ink, the Graphite fan. I am Frostman. You sure are. Iron Cloak, who is just strong for carrying that Iron Cloak around. Hota Neverete. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Prime Ryan with a Prime Mind app. Ryan Berkey. Ryan Wood Snap. Check out on YouTube, please. Ren Wrench. Vera. Group Math. Gopher. Kev. Kirtix Lee. Koire. Kazushi. Archangel 3K. That is a 5K, baby. Black Dahlia, Pyro, Goatsy, Code, Hollowed, and Synth are our alliance leaders. Hi, Synth. Well, I guess Synth isn't, but hi, Synth. Fat Dick, Absolute Shannon. Hey, Shan. Dirtay, Casual, Dark Moogle, Mr. Kerfuffle, Kerfuffing around, Cables, traveling the world, but now back home. Haven't heard from you, not insulted. Ginger Prime, Philly, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, the Bizza. Black Sheep is 23. Skippy G, and Jessica Gamble, thank you so much for hanging out, Skippy and Jess. Appreciate you. Slush Death, who won Champions League Season 1. The King of Bros broke the Great Gazoo. Werewolf, oh, Happy Halloween. Kev Ziota, Colt. Colt. Clam, Colonel Foreman. David Moo, Wingfield, Stephen, Brian Kaufman, could be in K-Town, or real name town. Tristan, Martin, Jason, Matt, William, Billy Nix, Ray Sean Smith, and Charles Chucky Washington, thus closes real name town. Corwin, John Q, and Jimmy Q are chilling in Q-Town. You stout. Eighth Sage, One Big Man, Cactus, Steve-O, Yo Marco, Ted Bro, and Quiver Joe. Along with Snap Decisions Joe, please check out the Snap Decision podcast. Bickety, 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 boom, bop. Bricks do click. Ocularis, Green Goblin, Flan 56, Spectrum X, Wood, Only Fox, Bat, Jace, Matt H is the only one we need, by the way. DJ, Mikey, Hijinks, no freaking flex, no freaking way. Nick, the Greeky, who made a podcast finally, check it out yesterday. Toxie, Toxic Soul King, Sodric 74, the King of Canada, JJ, 10 Man Falcon, Thor, Newman, Two Ties, who does in fact wear two ties, the great Laura Redevs, who was on the podcast yesterday if you missed it as well, along with Ryan Wood Snap and Nick the Greek Geek, the Pirate Kang, Tucka, and of course Gunny T. The T stands for I'm so hyped for this new season. I think these cards are really excited. I'm going to shake things up. Last season made one new deck, but I thought that new deck was kind of boring. This season, it looks like it's got a ton of really cool stuff. Peace. Hopefully you enjoy it.